I'll never forget this night. The pizza shop I worked at, Tony's Pizzeria, was about to close and I was getting ready to head home. At the end of the counter alone that night, so I picked up. There was complete silence. I hung up. About a minute later, the phone rang again. I answered, and again, silence. I was about to hang up when I finally heard a weak, cold voice of an old woman. She said she wanted a regular cheese pizza delivered. I stayed polite, but inside I was groaning. I just wanted to finish my shift and go home. I called out to my boss, Rick, that someone was requesting a delivery. He told me I had to go. I was annoyed at first, but then figured it was another tip, and the elderly usually tipped the best, so I went along with it. I wrote down the address she gave, 49 Willow Lane, and told her the pizza would be there soon, but she had already hung up. Rude, but I shrugged it off. Rick told me to just head home after the delivery since the shop would be closing. A little before 10 p.m., I got in my car and punched the address into my GPS. The house was about 7 miles away on the quiet side of Maplewood. When I arrived, I found a small one-story house sitting alone on an empty street. No lights on. I hoped she hadn't given me the wrong address. I walked up to the door and rang the bell. No answer. I rang again. Still nothing. I was about to give up when I noticed someone standing at the window. It was an elderly woman, probably late 70s, just staring at me with a blank expression. I called out through the glass that I had her pizza. No reaction. I repeated myself louder. Then a wide, unsettling smile stretched across her face. Not a warm smile. This one sent chills down my spine. I still remember that face. I'd had enough. I backed away, set the pizza in the passenger seat, and texted Rick as I started my car. I turned my head for one last look. She was standing right outside my passenger window, staring at me with the same frozen smile. I floored it and didn't look back. I got home safe and sound, and afterwards, Rick never made me do a late-night delivery again. This happened about 4 years ago when I was still in high school. I had just gotten my last delivery of the shift. My car, a beat-up 2000 Honda Civic, was perfect for deliveries. I entered the address into my phone's GPS. Living in the country outside Ashford, every pizza run meant a long drive. The sun was just starting to set, maybe around 7 p.m. After 15 minutes of bumpy dirt roads through thick woods, my GPS said I'd arrived. It was a small, old wooden lake house, completely isolated. The lawn was wildly overgrown. I didn't think much of it. I'd seen worse. I carried the pizza to the front door. There was no doorbell, so I knocked loudly. Within seconds, I heard footsteps on the wooden floor inside. They reached a door and stopped. A wave of unease hit me. I noticed a peephole in the door. "It's the pizza guy," I called. A low, harsh voice answered, telling me to bring the pizza around back. Something about it felt wrong. "Are you sure, sir?" I asked. No reply, no more footsteps. Whoever it was just stood there. I almost went back to my car, but I didn't want to deal with my boss giving me attitude for bringing the pizza back. So, reluctantly, I walked through the tall grass around the house. There was a small patio out back, with a table and 4 chairs. In one chair, facing away from me, was the head of someone sitting perfectly still. "Excuse me," I said, stepping closer. No movement. "Excuse me," I said again, louder. Then from behind me, a man's voice said, "Over here." I spun around and saw a man peeking from the corner of the house, a crazed smile on his face. "Come here. I want to show you something." I bolted, running around the house and back to my car, still clutching the pizza. I sped off and pulled over once I was far enough away to call the police. Later, officers told me no one had lived in that house for years. I quit my delivery job a few days later. To this day, I still wonder who or what was sitting in that patio chair. Another night, I was doing late deliveries again. This time I lived in Pine Hollow, a rural area filled with backroads. It was dark and foggy as I drove down a forest road shortcut I'd taken many times before. Suddenly, someone jumped out of the bushes onto the road. I slammed the brakes thud, a sickening bump. I'd hit them, panicking. I got out. A man in a black hoodie lay motionless by my car. Then I heard a scream for help coming from the woods to my left. I looked at the man still unmoving and, for some reason, thought it was okay to check the woods. I called out, "Where are you?" But only silence answered, then a crunch of leaves. Even through the fog, I saw a figure hiding behind a tree. I ran back to my car, heart pounding. When I got there, the man I'd hit was gone. Shaking, I drove off and still made the delivery. When the door opened, a middle-aged woman paid and then looked past me, her eyes narrowing. "They let you guys have delivery partners now?" she asked. Confused, I asked what she meant. "You have someone in your car," she said. A cold pit formed in my stomach. I turned. Someone was sitting in the back seat. I don't remember much of what happened next. I called the cops using her phone. They arrived quickly, but whoever had been in my car was gone. The officers found a blood-stained knife on the floor where the man had been hiding. To this day, I still can't stop thinking about what would have happened if I hadn't delivered that pizza.